All right, call to order, public safety meeting. First thing on the agenda is the sexting ordinance. I don't have any background on this, so whoever wants to take it, let's.
I'll go ahead and I'll take that one. We are proposing a sexting ordinance. The reason why we're looking at a sexting ordinance is we're getting a lot of juveniles in the high school especially who are sending images to each other. At this point, our last case that we had, we called the DA's office. The DA's office can't sentence them for something like this. So the only way that we can discourage the misuse of them sending photos via phones or technology is to put in place an ordinance. This is the exact same ordinance from Kaukauna PD. So why create a new one when they already have one? We went through the Muni code. They have the Muni code that does their ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been looked at by an attorney also. Bob Sorensen looked at it. This way at least we can issue them citations, you know, for whether 313, we're thinking $313 or $376 for sending these. But what they're doing is they're sending pictures of each other, and they're kind of mild pictures, you know, might be like cleavage or something like that, and they're asking for more. Otherwise they're gonna send the cleavage ones out. So we need to get a handle on this and be able to let them know that, you know, if this goes any further, this is what's gonna happen.
Okay. Is it like just a flat sanction for citation? Is it flat, or is it, if they send it out to 200 people, is it different? Is it?
I think that it depends upon the whole totality of the case. I mean, if you had something like that, maybe the DA would be willing to look at it. But the ones that we're running into, they're not willing to look at it. And what's nice about a municipal ordinance is, you have a dollar amount, not less than $5, not greater than, you know, $500. So we could issue a fine within that, and 500 meaning now you add the court costs and everything, so that fine could actually be $600, $700, $800 by the time that you're done.
Okay.
So, but that's what's nice about an ordinance, is you can use your discretion. So if that's what they're doing, is sending maybe pictures of cleavage, or a butt or something, I mean, you could maybe lower the fine down to 124, depending upon this situation, the circumstances of what actually happened.
And this is just minor to minors, is what we're talking about, because adults, that's.
Right, that's,
okay, that's
that,
covered
now we're
already.
into child pornography.
So what about if the person, is there anything that is, any kind of ordinance that covers, let's say a young lady or a young person has cleavage showing because her shirt shifted down, she has no idea somebody's taking her photograph, but somebody took her photograph and transmitted that.
Well, and I don't think, I mean, when you start looking at the ordinance, it's pretty specific to what has to be shown. So cleavage is not going to be one. I'm just using the cleavage as an example because that's what was first sent out, and they were requesting more because she didn't even want that being sent out.
And the other thing I think of too is like somebody's pants are hanging low because they don't fit them very well. So that particular student has no idea somebody took a photograph of their butt crack. Is there something that can be done? I get it that student's not part of this ordinance, but do we have something that could go along with this, that, because their right has been violated, that they're not aware that they've got something exposed?
Let her be on here.
Yeah.
Harmful to minors means any reproduction, imitation, characterization, description, exhibition, presentation, or representation of any kind of form. So
I know, but I mean, like, let's say,
essentially that would be meaning that the person who reproduced it, sent it, texted it, tweeted it, would be the one, we could get a fine or forfeiture,
Right.
you know.
but what protects the kid whose butt crack was showing?
Unfortunately, nothing.
That's what I'm asking, I guess, more. I think of sometimes my shirt will trickle down, or
Right.
sometimes somebody's pants
Shauna,
will trickle down.
are you there? We already
They're not
started, we're
aware.
talking about the first,
Right, but somebody snaps a picture
thing
of
is
me funny.
sexting.
But then the person
And,
that
the chief
delivers
provided us
that
a copy of,
is, that's the
an
one that
ordinance from
this
Kaukauna
person's gonna
that
be
they're
fined.
But the
proposing
person whose
to
butt crack is,
implement here.
Right.
we don't have anything that protects.
Let me know if you can't hear.
Unfortunately, we don't, other than, what we're doing is following up the investigation
Okay.
and citing somebody for doing something like that.
Well, since they're a minor, their name will be held in court, right? I mean, they wouldn't announce the,
No, we never
Yeah,
disclose
yeah,
juvenile
so-
information.
No, but I think about crack, I think
Yeah.
if somebody's taking a picture, it's not of their own, it's of somebody else's to be
Yeah.
funny. And
Right.
usually it's meant with a mean,
Right.
yeah,
And I
Shauna?
think,
undertone.
Shauna?
Yes,
Hey, we're reviewing an ordinance that Chris proposed. It's from Kaukauna. It did go through Bob Sorensen already, so the language is consistent. We're just thinking of all the possible what ifs if happens, with pictures. So Chris is getting a lot of pictures that are being sent around the school. Some people knowingly doing it, some people and what Julie brought up is how do we protect kids that aren't knowingly, don't know that they're being pictured if it's, something that people are taking of them without their knowledge. So we're just kind of running through the scenarios in case something would come up.
okay.
Is this primarily Snapchat? Is this primarily which?
Yes.
Okay. And where kids are taking screenshots of it?
Mhm.
I mean, that's how you would know.
Mhm.
Otherwise okay.
Well, seems fairly straightforward to me, as long as
different,
some common sense is applied.
for some of that
And the
protection, I'm
enforcement.
sure that the school officials too would let the victim know or something,
well, usually the victim's the one that's reporting
Yeah.
it to us.
but if they don't know,
Right.
so.
That's
I
what
would
I'm
think-
more worried about. Like
Yeah.
if my child's rear end was part of something, a kid is coming into municipal court and talking to the judge, I'd wanna know that that was my child's photograph.
Mhm.
And if that's something we can,
Well, and here again, so, I mean, if they just have a picture of a butt crack, whose butt crack is that? Unless we can have, the guy turning around and there's his face showing the butt crack. I mean, so, unfortunately, we would have to look into that more, because you can say that that's your butt crack, but that's not my butt
I
crack.
just think of cafeteria.
You know what I
Somebody takes
mean?
it from 10 feet away.
Right?
You can tell who that is.
Yeah. Yeah,
So now, let's say that this started with two kids and they were voluntarily doing it between each other, and now this one shares it with Julie and the next one shares it with Dan. Then they all get a ticket?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep,
that would only be fair.
exactly,
And that's what
Right.
this
Yeah.
covers?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, the first example you had was the coercion,
Yeah.
and I don't see anything in here about that. Or is there?
It's just, that's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. I mean, well, this is
Right,
pretty
you-
straightforward. This is
right,
possession,
but-
transmission,
and I'm giving.
copying, anything like
right,
that, so.
And I'm just giving you the example because
Yeah.
she feared, okay, so she took nude pictures and then sent them, and then that person distributed them. Now, here's where it comes into play.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
So do you need a motion on this or anything?
Are we just looking
To
to
take to the
recommendations? It's
board?
gotta go to
I
full
think
board,
with
right?
all of these on the agenda today, we'd make a recommendation to either move it forward with the village board, so that we could place it on the agenda for the 19th.
Yeah,
So-
that's, I think that makes sense.
One more question. We were talking about male and female, and this can get political to some folks, but there are students at the high school who don't identify as male or female. I guess what I'm getting at is, we're depicting, I get it, it's genitals, it's male or female. I mean, I can go back to biology class, anatomy and physiology. is there anything that can be a little more vague on there, just so you're specific, but then also that, or any human genitals? I mean,
Well, there's only, I mean, it says human male or female, so there's,
but some students do not, and there are students who don't identify as male or female, and I get it. I've been
Yes.
through anatomy and physiology. I get this. But I would hate for this to somehow be into play later on, that somebody says, well, I'm not a male, that's not me. Or that I identify as a
Well-
transgender.
But, and I think that all comes out in the report.
Okay.
You know, I think that while talking to so-and-so,
Okay.
that would come out in the report.
I don't think that that applies anyway, because it's not there's no distinction to a man or a woman or whatever you identify yourself as, it's just the genitalia.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, and those are,
we do have transgender students in the school district,
And-
and who do, and there are hormones that can affect and change. So you may biologically be born as a female,
No.
but you're now taking hormone replacement, which then helps other parts of your body identify more as a male,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
I think one thing that helps here, B says harmful to minors,
Mhm.
so that kind of helps cover some of those areas.
How has this worked in Kokana? Pretty good? I mean, they haven't had any of these questions thrown out, and this has been a good ordinance for them?
I'm assuming so. I mean, I don't know what types of questions that they would have thrown out, but, I mean, it's just kind of like with any kind of ordinance, whether it be disorderly conduct with a motor vehicle or another one. I mean, if it doesn't work, then you rewrite it to make it work for you. But at least it gives us something. Right now, we have nothing.
anything else?
No, good.
I think we should pass it on to the board, add it to the agenda, unless anybody has an objection. All right. Next item is South Lincoln Street. Again, I don't have any reference for this, so.
This was from Peter. So this goes back to, so 3 and 4 basically come into the same conversation piece. We've had the Mill and Bath Street discussion at village board meeting. There was conversation that potentially limited access to South Lincoln Street from Nye Street. And that would help reduce the flow going onto Mill and Bath, because a lot of the people either coming out of Hortonia or those coming into town on South Nash are dodging the downtown by taking a left on Nye, taking a right on South Lincoln, coming up through town the backside way. So there was talk of, as an option or a potential solution, that we should discuss the South Lincoln Street thoroughfare as it leads into the downtown corridor. If that makes complete sense.
But for, kind of for my reference, if we did put up a sign saying no left turn onto Lincoln, you know, and put a time frame on it, it would still shove that traffic down to M, and there'd be another bottleneck there.
Or they
So
will be
Lincoln is
taking the industrial park.
Lincoln is the road that
Yeah.
intersects in front, is that the road in front of the canning factory that intersects?
Mhm.
Yes, so Lincoln would be the gentleman who's got the Model A sitting on the corner of Lincoln and Nye.
So
Okay,
is that
so,
all South Lincoln, or is that?
I don't know if it
Yeah.
I would
just
think-
turns, it's one of those where it changes the name from Bath to something, but, so we're thinking that there's an issue with traffic
Potentially,
turning left off of,
yeah, but I
off a
think,
double T onto, or
Yeah.
off a Nye, onto Lincoln.
now, I don't know if this is more of a problem, and Shauna, you could probably err on this one. Is it more of a,
I think it's not, I don't think that there's an issue necessarily turning. I think if you stop people from turning from Nye, turning left onto Lincoln, the only thing achieved there would be less traffic down Bath and Mill, which might help with the speeding issue. It doesn't really change anything with turning left by, Peter brought up issues for Bath coming onto Nash. So I don't think that solves anything. I think from a personal standpoint, yeah, it would be great having less traffic going down my street, but I don't know, that there's necessarily a bottleneck right now.
There isn't.
Yeah.
It's gonna
I
go
sat there-
somewhere.
I sat there this morning and I counted a total of 10 cars in 45 minutes that turned left onto South Nash from 9.
What
Ten-
time estimated?
What time were you out there?
7:15 to 8 o'clock.
And that's peak,
Yes.
so that's,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always gonna be in the morning before school and
Yeah.
3 o'clock after.
I mean, because I drive that route. I drive Nye to, what is this, to Lincoln.
9 to
to-
Lincoln
yeah,
to Bath
to Bath, and then I
and
come
then
up
you
on a
take
crown.
Mill. Right.
Yeah, because
Well,
I
and that's,
want
and
to
that's what
avoid
they're
this,
taking.
I want to avoid all the traffic with the
Right.
stoplights and,
Right. A couple of them
And
will.
make a right.
Right.
Correct.
Yep, a couple of them will go to, straight down Bath to Nash, but the majority of them are turning, from Bath, taking a left on Mill and going to Main Street.
yeah,
Well-
so I drive it every day and you know, it's probably, what, quarter to 8 when I do it, to like quarter to 8, 20 to 8, because I'm on my way to the school to drop off my kids, and there really isn't that much traffic. I mean, I'll see one car while I'm driving on it, so I don't know that
That also
making that
funnels
modification would have an issue.
Funnels all the cars onto Nash.
onto
then.
Main and Nash, which is where we have a crossing guard and children are crossing for school, and I think I know what that intersection already looks like in the mornings, but I think even trying to funnel more cars to that intersection isn't safer for our kids, and we also have downtown businesses that I think some of those people might be turning down Mill Street, so they could go to a downtown business. I would hate to, feel like that's even harder for people to do.
I'm one of those people. I shot pool at Hardtails last night, so I took that exact same
Mhm.
route. So that way I could come up Mill and turn right onto Main and park on the side right in front of Hardtails to shoot
Yeah.
pool.
and I hate to think if we shut Lincoln off, I really do feel we're going to have all these cars going down Industrial Park Drive.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who
Especially
lives on
coming
that
from
route, I don't know the benefit, honestly, of shutting Lincoln off. I don't think that it's gonna solve our problem at all.
No, and I don't think it's making it safer especially for school
No.
children walking and crossing
No.
at Main and Nash.
I think what you'll do is make a bigger problem at the other intersections, and rather than what we have now. I don't wanna cut off my face, bite my nose.
No, but I hear you, Shauna. I think
Or no, by my
it doesn't
face,
make
whatever.
sense to me.
you know, not to kick the can down the road, but maybe that's something that we can keep monitoring that area. And if you think that's a valid way of helping the situation, we can enact it later on.
Anybody have anything else on that? So as the Mill and Bath is combined with that, so we covered
Well,
both, or do we have a
we should
separate
just
issue?
quote what we discussed on Mill and Bath, because we talked about adding the stop strips.
Mhm.
Correct. Now, that one went to village board, so I'm not sure why it made the agenda here. But we discussed on not changing the stop sign, correct, on Mill and Bath, leaving it currently as it is,
That-
Not adding it.
Correct.
not
Well,
adding.
they got moved back to
Okay.
where they're supposed to be.
Okay,
Okay,
and
but
then
we
we're
did-
adding the stop
I
strip.
did tell Carl that we should. put
That's already
those signs
there.
into-
Okay, they did, okay.
Yeah, the stop strips are there, but now
Yep,
that
the
this,
signs were moved and the strips were painted, so,
Yeah. Stop
You-
ours.
how do you feel did that make a difference, Shauna?
no.
No.
No, and I mean, selfishly, I would love everyone to stop and I'd love everyone to slow down. I don't know that there's a real solution to this problem, short of,
Unfortunately, this
randomly monitoring it with police,
is happening
just
all
making
over the
it one of the
county.
places people
Nobody's stopping for stop
check.
signs.
and ticket.
And
I don't know how else
You
to
don't
solve
recommend
it.
four-way.
Because 4 stop signs didn't work, 2 stop signs is not perfect either, so.
No. Unfortunately, I mean, when you have the 4 stop signs, if you got all 4 people blowing the stop signs, you're gonna have some type of an accident. But at least if you have one that goes through that they don't have to stop and the other 2 are supposed to stop, I mean, so when I go through there, I'm cautious because I don't know if they're gonna stop, but I'm cautious everywhere I go. If I see a car coming at me this way or this way and I'm traveling down, Highway 47, going to Appleton, I'm watching that one to see what it's gonna do. But unfortunately, people don't stop for stop signs anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I just think, I don't think there's any perfect way to fix that, because it's speeding, it's rolling stops. But that intersection is not any different than many intersections in town. There's just a speeding issue in town. So, I think that the best we can do is I've seen the police department monitoring it more, and that's great. And I think that's the best we can do. Make it become one of those places that people know, yeah, a cop sits here sometimes, just like the bank or, Mid-Con or Charlie's or right in the town there. People know that's where the police sit, so they slow down. I don't know what else to do with it.
Forgot Quick Trip.
Mm-hmm.
We got it on an extra
Great.
patrol item, so.
Agree.
And when I came in today at 7, and I signed onto the computer, that's where he was sitting, so.
I just drove down it about an hour plus ago, and with the snow and with everybody out there shoveling, I was doing 20, and one of the residents was staring at me like I was, my eyes were red or something, and I was like I'm doing 5 miles under the speed limit because I know that it's slick,
Right.
and I'm taking it easy here,
So-
so but it feels narrow. I mean, maybe that's because of the offset of the houses from the street, or maybe it's not
Size
as
of
wide of a
vehicle
street.
makes it, size of a vehicle makes a difference. I mean,
Yeah.
we get complaints that semis are speeding and they're not.
Yeah.
But because they're larger, they appear to be going faster than what they are.
It
Well,
is,
and 25 looks fast in any residential area. I mean,
It does.
It
Yes.
does. But
It does.
it's very hard to
Big red
judge
segment.
people's speed.
Okay.
Okay.
And maybe we throw purchase a couple more brackets, and throw one of the calming boards up there and see that tells you when we're not there. When we're there, people are slowing down. But we can at least look at the data, find out those calming boards are awesome because it'll tell you when people are speeding through there, how many cars are going through there. It helps to determine where we should be doing our patrols.
Can you collect that data without having the flashing speed limit on it?
We can have, they appear to be dead and they're still working.
Yeah, that'd be something that,
Mhm.
Just checking if my purse is yours.
Nope.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to add? All right. So
Not really any action on that then?
No.
Moving forward.
No.
Okay.
We're so number 5, Nash, South Nash and Main Street.
Again, this is coming from Peter. The question in general is, at certain times during the day, specifically at around the school, after and before, South Nash Main Street intersection, he's requested and there's not a lot we can do because it's mandated by county and or state on that intersection, potentially restricting left-hand turns from South Nash onto Main Street, going west onto Main Street.
Left-hand turns aren't an issue. The right-hand turns is what backs up that traffic.
So
I can tell you just from witness,
However,
Five
what he's
cars.
saying, what Peter is also saying though, is at times if you're turning left and you have oncoming traffic, there are times where you will not make your turn in one light's time.
No,
More
I
like
disregard,
No.
no.
I disagree because
I sit at that corner in the morning because we have people doing straight in that right turn only at the bowling alley. So I sit there in the morning and I watch that. And I count a total of 5 cars in the morning, and not once do any of those cars turning left onto West Main have to wait. So by the time that they're clearing, there's either a car that's there that's turning left to go past Julie's, okay? And then the car that's in that lane to go straight or whatever, either goes straight or turns to the left. So there's never any wait.
you know. In fact, to pull out of our driveway in the morning, depending on which kids I'm dropping off, if I need to take a left out of my driveway, it's near impossible, and not because of the west or the traffic coming from the west on 15. It's because of everybody taking a right from South Nash.
Right.
It's all of those cars funneling from South Nash, and it's a constant flow unless the crossing guard is there to stop them because they're crossing children. They go, they're able to go even on red if it's safe to go. It's a constant flow of right turns.
Would it help? You can't do that here. I was gonna say, would it help to say no turn on red then?
No.
Because I think then you would have a
No,
flow.
Then you
I think
really,
you'd have a
really
back.
back it up, cause you gotta
Yeah.
take advantage of that
Everybody
right
backs
turn
up.
when you
Yep,
can.
and honestly,
Yep.
for the kids that walk, if I time it just right, I'll know that there's somebody gonna be out there holding a stop sign, so that I can go.
Okay.
And you know, we're talking anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes in the morning.
It's a very,
And then it's just, it's done. And the reason why we have so much traffic coming down, the reason why we have so much traffic that's coming northbound on Highway M is because people can't get out on 15. So they're taking Spring and they're coming all the way around. Because if you start running the plates of some of those vehicles, I mean, they're the ones that are over at by Falling Wings and.
Because they can't turn from Greendale, they
Right.
can't turn left from
Right.
Greendale.
Right.
And so what happens is, a lot of those folks that live south of Hortonville, even if it might be quicker for them to take Manly, they won't do it because there's no way they could ever take a left onto 15. So they go down to, on Spring, or they, 96,
And we
And
gotta,
come,
up on M.
yep,
and
and
come
we gotta,
back up M.
Yeah.
And, for their standpoint, then
I got
they're, they're going to a controlled intersection
right,
rather than trying to take a left turn.
And most parents that I've
Yeah.
spoken to, they're new drivers, they're young drivers. They have shown their children that this is the way they go to school. Even if you live in Greenville and it's quicker to take Manly, you take Spring all the way to M.
and we have a lot of traffic that's, coming from, Double T. They're coming to Nash, Highway M, and then they're heading for the stop and go light. Cause I sit in the Black Otter parking lot in the morning too. And, yeah, it's just constant stopping at that stop sign, stopping at the stop sign.
The traffic
stopping
on
at the stop
15 from New London, it depends on, and it used to depend a lot on Hillshire. You could always tell when Hillshire had a shift change because you could tell when that was getting out. But now, because there's so much commuting traffic from the New London area going towards the Fox Valley, going towards Appleton, there is no direct time of day that intersection is plugged because of traffic on 15. It's more that school traffic in the morning.
And the crossing guards have the ability to manipulate that light. So if there's like a gap right about where the crossing is by the funeral home and Otter Creek, they can actually go over and they can push that button and it'll make the light going north and south, it'll make that one turn green. So they do that, they stand out there, they watch the traffic, and they know that they can make that light turn color by pushing the walking light, the crosswalk light.
So I think that one's kind of a moot point. too,
Okay.
or-
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's anything that can.
I get where, from
Do to
Peter's
improve it.
standpoint, he just sees a lot of bottleneck, but where's that bottleneck? Is it because in front of him, it's the one lane yet? And then it splits into two.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very, very small window
Yeah,
of time.
all right. Number 6 is the vision complaint exiting alley 2 by the old PD.
in front of the old police department are potentially 2 parking lanes that were at one time deemed non-parking. The yellow paint has since gone away. So the current tenant and her lessee usually park right in front of the building and right next to it, which creates, when you're coming out of the alleyway, in order to look to the right, you're having to look through a vehicle.
I've noticed that they're limiting the flow. I mean,
Correct.
it gets tight right there at the
Correct.
bridge where they're parking. I was always assumed that was no parking there until I started seeing them parking.
Recommendation from Public Works and Administration as after we looked at it, we need to restrict the parking there. However, at this point in the year, it's gonna be hard to paint that yellow. It might be a spring venture. The people that are the occupants of it, we have money in the budget for 2020 proposal we just spent money fixing the back parking lot, and we're gonna be adding to that back parking lot, so there's more options. We're gonna finish that parking lot with proper drainage in spring, so there are better options for them to have their parking in back. My true belief is that the tenant parks there so nobody else can, to keep access to her garage door when she has to load in and out. You know what I'm saying? Because,
The Ivory Toyota.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because she would need, otherwise somebody could park there all
And
day
then
long.
block her out, yeah.
And block her out all day long. So she
I mean-
basically, at any point she can get a vehicle there, she does. She puts it there, so she can restrict who can park there.
I'm just thinking, isn't it, I mean, I never really noticed until I saw somebody parking there, but I always thought it was fairly standard that there's no parking within a certain distance of like a bridge, because you're funneling the traffic into a single lane. And every place I've ever been to, it's, you know, as you start getting into where that funnel is, it's typically no parking there.
It used to be
You always
parking
Because
for all
it
the
gets too
firemen.
tight.
Yeah, there was,
They would all,
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
that was way back when the fire trucks were there, didn't it?
yep.
There was all no parking there, and then,
Yeah.
we restricted, back in probably '93, we restricted parking by the bridge there for a little while, because the police squads were there,
Yeah.
and then, so it was just one official parking stall there, so.
Which is nice to still have that, at least one, because people do park there to go fish. You know, they do on that, you know, on the.
And I don't think the
Yeah.
forward one would hurt as much as the one that's in front of her door.
Mhm.
So I think temporarily, I think we should make a motion to put a non-parking sign, a temporary non-parking sign there for the winter months, and then have it properly painted in spring. That's what I would make a suggestion.
So make
Have
the
we-
whole area no parking there.
I think if you give her the 4 one, because there's a Toyota 4Runner that parks there, that's the lady that cuts the dog hair,
Mhm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
However, I guess if I was the business owner, I'd park in the rear and let my customers park up front, which is.
Yeah, I mean, we just helped them out with the parking lot in the back by
Yeah.
paving that.
Yeah, I mean, it's your call. I
Right.
mean,
Have we talked to the building owner or anybody that, yet about this?
Again, we have to do something, Julie, because if we
I
don't,
just was
somebody else
curious
will
if
park
they,
there. Yeah.
if they, you know, so we're not just out there, somebody just shoving in no parking sign.
No, we would definitely have to have a conversation with Claire, absolutely.
Did she doesn't, she's not aware of this at all?
I don't believe so. I don't
Yeah,
believe so.
That'd be the first part.
Absolutely.
Because even, it might be just taking one stall away rather than two, so.
Oh, I mean, we can talk to her and see, but my recommendation would be to talk to the current property owner, and then make the entire space, make that entire strip non-parking for, I take my son fishing there, we park at the Wolf River Credit Union, or whatever the heck it is now.
That's
Um,
private
It is
property.
Wolf River.
yeah.
You know, and I get it, I mean, even people park behind BMO, but again, that's private property, and
Yeah.
that's, you know, I hate to tell
Or
people.
by the BP, yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's private property, but you know,
No, I
everybody
know.
knows they're gonna go in there and buy worms and,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Well, and sometimes prohibits like, and a lot of the big trucks and things, and I think about that alley, like about 3 or 4 in the morning is usually when a lot of the trucks will back down. They deliver late at night. They live like 3 or 4 in the morning, but there's a couple of them that deliver, maybe 6:30 in the morning,
I see there was somebody delivering this morning.
and they back
7:15.
down. A lot of them back down.
Mm-hmm.
But even like I think of the BP, even the fuel trucks, the way they have to back in and the way they pull in, it's really awkward. So any kind of visibility issue with there, I think is a big deal. But is it Claire that owns that? Yeah, I would touch base with her.
Yeah,
Just-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, this would go to we would be putting in a recommendation to put it in front of us. We add it to the November 19th agenda, have a further discussion, then we make a motion what we would want to do on that. Whether we want to mark it as temporary no parking for the winter months, and then have it permanently sprayed in spring, with the advice of talking to the owner. So
Okay.
that'd be where we want to push it, if somebody wanted to mention that.
So would you contact them?
Yep, absolutely. Public Works.
Before the meeting?
Yep.
Okay, just to
Yep,
get,
just to
a-
get
just
her
to get
in,
their
yep.
position. and-
Absolutely.
I mean, good, because if they're just parking there to save the spot so they
Yep.
can get in and out,
Yep.
then
Yep.
it shouldn't be.
It
a
would
big
solve her
deal.
problem, because if we mark it temporarily for the winter months and then spray it in spring, she wanted an issue. I can see her concern though, if all of a sudden somebody's parking there and she can't get in and out of her garage,
Yeah,
you know, that's an issue, so.
Yeah. okay. Number 7 is parking on Nye Street.
This is the direct result of the Black Otter Supper Club. Again, on their busy nights, what's happening on the intersection of Nash and Nye is that they're parking around the corner, so it's bottlenecking around the corner as well. So, recommendation from Carl is on the north side of Nye Street, if we just push parking up a little bit further up the road, not so they can't park directly around the corner, but they get further up Nye, to where it doesn't allow them to consistently park right around the corner. They would have to stop it before it gets to the turn around the corner, and then start it once it gets up a hill at a safe distance. It would allow people, sight visions, and then, it wouldn't be so tight in there, so.
It is tight.
So we're talking about when you come past Black Otter and you're making a right-hand turn up onto Nye,
Correct.
the sharp right.
Correct.
Okay. And did Carl have a recommendation for how far back?
Well,
to
we'd
go?
have to look, I would guess at least 2 cars off of the corner, you know? Put a sign, no parking here to corner.
Would you also do that though by the stop sign? Because there again, I've been told they're parked right up to the stop sign, so now you've got a car's coming this way, a
Sure.
car's going this way.
Okay.
And there's a real issue because you're right on top of that stop sign.
You can't see.
And
And they're
you
pulling
can't.
out far enough, they're pulling out where they're almost getting hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're
You
talking
know,
about-
so
we're talking
we
about
almost
Nye,
have
so-
to go
Okay.
on
So you-
each side up
Correct.
Are you saying on Nash or are you saying on Nye?
Nye.
Okay,
They're
Coming up
parking
to
on
that.
Nye.
you might wanna move that back because you're coming down a hill, which keeps your, if there's somebody parked there, they block the stop sign a little more too.
I mean,
so-
I was sitting in the
Right.
passenger seat with my 16-year-old with her temps driving, and we were stuck at that intersection for a little bit, cause she's like, I can't see, and I said, unless you can see, you can't go, and it was a Saturday night, it's, you know, and it's hard, and she's 16, but I also think of, I'm not comfortable even pulling
No.
out.
I mean, it's a safety issue. That's all it is. Just to come back somewhat
And I
off of Nash.
And you don't, not that you're trying to prohibit parking at all for the Guyets, but I'm even wondering too now, across the street it used to be Cuffs Marketplace.
Mhm.
Who owns that? I mean, I just wonder if, and not that it's our business, but I'm just wondering too, if they would even start offering some parking areas, because I feel bad, like we keep crunching in on the Black Otter, and I've had some residents say, well, yeah, you gotta park a mile away now. It's like, well, no, you just don't park in front of everybody's driveway. I don't know, maybe we can,
There's usually cars parked over there, so, I don't know, have there been any complaints, Christine?
I don't know.
Over there?
Yeah, across the
Just
street
trying to
from-
offer
and then
some
construction.
options.
Across the
because-
street from Black
because
Otter,
I feel like
where
we just
people are
keep
parking in what used to be the Cuffs.
Yeah, that's private property.
Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, I
private.
know that, but if
If
nobody's
they call it,
complaining,
right, nobody's complained.
okay.
And he's got a shop back there. I think it's the same guy that owns that red building, owns that
The
shop
construction, the
in the
green one.
back, yeah. So,
Okay. Alright, I just feel bad for the Guyets.
That'd be probably a private agreement, if
Mhm.
anything, between the Black Otter and whoever was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We gotta definitely look out for our business owners, Julie, I get
I
that,
know.
you know, on the other hand, they're in a position where, you know, having been an operator for 20 years, off-street parking is a premium for any business, so.
well, and they've got a lot of that parking that is on railroad property, but they must have some kind of agreement with that, so. Cause the railroad almost up to there.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't restrict them parking on the street.
No.
It's just, maybe like you said, 2 car lengths on
I'm
each
not
side,
sure. I'm not
just
aware
for
of that.
safety when people are going around the
No,
corner
I'm
or
not aware
turning
of
onto
that.
Nash.
The railroad,
Yeah, right up to there,
Mhm.
yeah.
because the
Okay.
railroad right away is 50 feet, so that'd be 25 feet.
Maybe give,
And-
Guyets a head up,
Yep.
heads up,
It's on railroad.
otherwise I can talk to him too.
No problem, we can do that also.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
and as far as that stop sign, the stop sign is 15 feet from an intersection. So, that's what the state law states.
Okay. We can check to see
So-
if it's in the right spot.
Right, so whether we just start issuing some citations or some parking tickets,
You're saying the stop sign from the intersection or the first parking car?
you cannot park within 15 feet
Right.
of an intersection. So,
Okay, just.
I would rather have it properly marked
it's
to
not the
avoid
stop sign.
counts, you know, I'd rather have another sign installed that says no parking here to corner,
Yep, cause
cause then.
we don't
we're
have a
gonna get calls.
crosswalk there.
Yeah.
So you can't go by the crosswalk.
Yeah, there's no sidewalk.
So, right. But again, I mean, now we're throughout the whole winter because we can't paint yellow,
Yeah.
the yellow
Right.
curbs. The yellow curbs throughout the whole driveway thing, people blocking people's driveways and everything had stopped. I suggested to Carl, if we can get on, Mill Street and Dewey, that corner, and then to the north, the fire hydrants are kinda weird because they're in people's front yards instead of,
In the apron.
right.
Yep.
So, he's gonna check to see if he's got 2 flags to put on those 2 fire hydrants. Because that's the complaint that we get from these people. I didn't see that fire hydrant in there. I didn't think to look for a fire hydrant in somebody's front yard. But yet we're issuing parking tickets for somebody parking in front of a fire hydrant. So,
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, typically those are only flags for if somebody's cutting grass or shoving snow piles, that they know that hydrant's
Sure.
there.
All right, so number 8 is the speed limit on Industrial Park Avenue.
This was not my addition. This came from President, I believe, at your recommendation. The only question we had, Jeannie, is this obviously gonna be south of Nye Street or north of Nye Street? I'm guessing it's south of Nye, between Nye and Main Street, correct?
15, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
looking
North and Ninth.
North and Ninth.
North Eye.
It's
Yeah,
25
north of
in
that.
there,
Yep.
and I've heard, from people that it's extremely low. A lot of people been getting ticketed on that street where they feel, in a lot of the other industrial parks, the speed limit is actually 35. So, when I suggested it, Dave said, well, then are they gonna go 50? Well, then they get a ticket. But, you know, I mean, 25 is extremely slow.
I'm counting 16 driveways.
There's a lot of driveways and there's a lot of semis that are turning into there. That's my concern is, and the road is not straight, the
yeah,
road
it's
is
like very
curvy.
curvy.
We do not write a whole lot of tickets in there.
Okay.
We were for a little bit because people are doing 55 through there. Some, yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing 55 down this road. I mean, we just got somebody at 70 on Grandview. People are flying all over the place. So I'm afraid that if we raise it to anything above 25, I mean, we're looking at, you know, we're being recorded, but I mean, we're not looking at people who are doing 12 miles over the speed limit. People that we're getting are doing anywhere between 21 and 35 miles over the speed limit. So somebody who's doing 35 in there is not gonna get pulled over, but if we're gonna change the speed limit from 25 to 35, now it's gonna up our threshold to people doing 50. And
So
do we
you
want
think-
people doing 50 through there?
It would be a safety issue for the trucks.
I think it would.
I think so.
Yeah,
When I count that many driveways, yeah.
yeah, but it's like I said to
Yeah.
David, you know, we need to bring it up because it was an issue
Absolutely.
that was brought forward to
Yep.
me.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I think logically, like you say, there's a lot of businesses. Changing it could possibly be a safety issue for trucks
Yeah.
and everyone. So,
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
quantity of driveways and the truck movements in there, I think that would really push the safety envelope.
and I think we would hate for that to be a scapegoat then for people to say, well, I can get through there faster than going down Lincoln to Mill, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So then they're gonna take that, and that's gonna be a huge traffic
Yeah.
up. So yeah, I just thought it was something that we should push around and see what you had to say, and,
Absolutely.
you know. So I think it's, you know,
okay.
Talk
No
about what
action,
what
probably.
we're seeing as officers out there, you know, and yeah.
Okay, no action on that? Okay.
So, number 9 is any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion.
I need to bring up the siren.
Yeah.
We did receive a $500 stipend, which is a revenue source for 2020 from Outagamie County. That is in our budget proposal. The only other topic that comes up is not knowing what's going to happen with the future. We're preparing ourselves to receive that siren. We are currently working with, it's a company, it's called Sheboygan Siren. They do, and the county must have gave them all the information that we have, because they currently contract with, I forget the contractor now, but We got a proposal from Sheboygan Siren, so I solicited back to them to see what the annual maintenance contract would be moving forward, so we know if we are handed this siren and we have to pay for the maintenance, what we're up against, so we can make a rational decision based on what we're looking at. Most of the mechanicals on it, from what I read, it's a fairly newer piece of equipment, but it has tendencies to burn out. So we've been already retrofitted with their upgrade kit, but it still has a swivel on it. It's got a gear that turns that speaker, so it moves, so it's getting in all directions. However, most of the mechanical parts on there are no less than $450 every time they go out. So they do have a very 15-point inspection that they do annually. We just don't know that fee yet. So I don't think we can do anything yet. We have some time to buy, but eventually this is gonna be something we're gonna have to make a decision on. If we take this on, and having discussions with Carl, as long as the county is operating it and it's feasible for us to maintain it, it really is a no-brainer. But if it gets to the point where we have to basically select somebody to operate it and put that on them, that's another discussion we need to have, because then we need to really deem an emergency management coordinator, you know, somebody that's gonna take heed and have to activate it. That's kind of another question they have.
And one of the questions I did ask at the county level was, do they plan on turning over like emergency management? And at this time, that's not even in the
Correct.
plan, so.
I think what they want to, Julie, is they want to hand it over and have the maintenance side taken care of by the villages and townships and municipals, rather than the activation side of it, so.
How much time do we have on that?
I believe all of 20 yet.
Okay.
So the intent for the county is to turn them over in 20, and they're gonna, from what I understand, they're gonna operate it. It's not the
I
operating
heard-
side of it, it's
I
the
heard January 1st we're getting.
turning it over, correct.
Right,
But they're gonna be operating them yet in 20.
okay.
That's the plan.
Yes, yes. And because that was one of the questions that I had asked. I said, you know, if they're turning these over to us, who's gonna be making that call to activate that siren? And they said, oh, no, we will continue
No,
doing that.
that's good.
Emergency Management Director, which is,
Lisa, then
Lisa
Schindel.
Vincendo, she'll be the one that will be doing it, so.
Correct. So as of right now, we're soliciting for that annual maintenance contract, which we would add to as a line item. So once we get a proposal. So
other, would be the judicial term. We can add that to a future agenda here. We need to discuss 2 or 4 years going forward.
Is it public safety?
Yes.
Would it be added? Okay.
yes,
Just wanna make sure.
That, and I did send out an initial email saying that I think that instead of trying to schedule appointments or schedule committee meetings, that we pick a date that we can schedule. Unfortunately, the date that I sent out was the first Wednesday, which is also the date for court, so that one won't work. So I'll try to send everybody an alternate, and we can see what can work. We'll put it on the schedule for a monthly meeting, cancel the meeting if it deems that we don't have anything to cover.
Okay. I'll just wait to hear from you then.
makes sense.
That's all I have. Does anybody have anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
All right.
We are
Aye.
adjourned.